Good afternoon. The day is Friday, and this is October the 4th. So if you were looking for the broadcast of Ask Welfare Rights, you have found us once again. My name is Maureen Taylor, and I work with Michigan Welfare Rights, and I'm talking a little fast because we've got a number of things we want to share with you this evening. So let's just go straight to Marion, who's going to give you an official welcome, and let's get going, Marion.
And it's going to be quick. Again, we're so happy to be back here today. And I want to remind you that you're listening to www.tv33WHPR. And tonight, if you have the opportunity to call in, call in. Don't wait on someone else to call in. If you have something to announce, call in. The numbers to call is 313-868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336. The website is www.tv33WHPR.com. We are looking forward to hearing from you. There's a lot going on and a lot for us to talk about. Okay, Maureen, let's rock.
Well, a couple of things. We've been out of the country. Marion lost a very close relative, and straight from the homegoing services, we crossed the border and got on a train and went to London, Ontario, where there was a national call put out by Canadians to come together and let's caucus about water and water issues.
And we were invited.
Yeah, we were invited, and it was something. It was something. It was very intense, very involved. Canadian water warriors covered the gamut, including Native Americans that come from different parts of that
was
nation.
interesting.
And so there were a handful of Americans. Most of the folks there were from Canada, different parts of the country. And you should know that all of us feel the same way. Water is a human right. Okay, and it should not be abridged. So this was
and we were
2.5
treated with
days.
a lot of respect.
Oh yeah.
And they were so happy to see us. You would have, I mean,
Glad
you
to
were
see 'em.
thinking that we were in the same family, Maureen.
Yeah, very nice.
This
And,
water make you be in the same
and
family.
it unites us all
Uh-huh.
across both countries, United States of America and Canada. So it was very intense.
The Great
we
Lakes.
got a whole bunch of information and data and whatnot. And just as Marion said, the Great Lakes is a draw for us all.
And we should bring
know,
Sylvia on
you
one
know.
night to give a report.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because she was on top of it. I mean, don't
It
feel
was
like you're
intense.
alone.
You're not alone.
When it comes to this water and the corporation, like we were talking about it, you brought it up. They in Michigan, they throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
When
And their country.
And their country, throughout the world. We got a common enemy.
Trying to privatize water all over the place. And many of our efforts, even though a lot of them have been involved, Mary, in this water fight before us, but because of our intense efforts in Detroit, in Highland Park, in Wayne County, in Michigan, and across the nation, they were astounded at the capacity that we had been able to reach so far. So we reunited forces, and ain't no telling what we're gonna do next now.
And they knew about all of us.
Yes.
And in particular, Flint. Clara was
Yes.
outstanding.
Yes.
We need to bring them here again.
As soon as we can. All right, then the other thing I thought we got a caller calling in another 5 or 6 minutes, Marion. The other big story across the country now is the conviction of this former Dallas police officer, the woman, the young woman who shot that young man in his apartment. And there's a lot of discussion going on. A couple of folks have said to me more than once that the 10 years that the judge gave her, they didn't think it was enough. And, the victory is that some kind of justice happened. Because usually, you
don't get no
you
type
don't
of
get no
justice.
kind of justice. So that happened. But, Marion, looks like the big deal is, Remember that guy named Reginald Denny, this blonde guy who was in a truck. And when the rebellion broke out, I think it was after Rodney King, people in Los Angeles pulled that white guy out of the truck
And
and
beat the
started to
hell out of
beat
him.
him and kick him and all that kind of stuff. And other blacks, whites, Hispanics came to his rescue. And later on, when he's in a hospital with fractures and all that kind of thing, and they ask him, "What do you think about that?" He said, "I'm not mad. I don't hold any grudges because I understood what this was." Well, here's this Botham's younger brother
Yes.
on TV, 18, and this is a tribute to his parents, was able to release what he called internal anger that he didn't want to carry with him. I don't want to
No.
hate, carry
It's
this
not going to
hatred and
bring his
anger.
brother back.
Not going to bring the brother back. And wanted to know if it was all right to hug the person that shot and killed his brother. Which, Marion, I want you to comment on this, essentially shut down the conversation. We don't have to talk about this too much more. The family has stood up and
Yeah.
has made a comment. And I'll just say one other thing. On my way here tonight, Dr. Phil had a special program the entire hour today, and people should get that October the 4th. Dr. Phil's program on CBS. It was all about that young man's family and the mother and the father, the sister, the two attorneys that were involved,
There's
and
another
how
brother, too.
how they analyzed this case.
The
But it's something
attorney,
to see.
the attorney
Trump.
mentioned also earlier today when he was asked on Good Morning America, what did he think about the position? Because he and the young man was on TV being interviewed. What did he think about it? He said the young man taught us all something.
He did.
You know, you can't go. You know, when my young brother was killed, you can't hold on to that thing of
That anger and that
anger
hatred.
and hatred because it would bring you down.
It wears you down.
It wears you way down. And I know my brother, one of my older brothers, at that time said, "Don't worry, sis. Don't worry, bruh." And he was in jail at the time. He said, "That young man gonna wish today that he never killed our brother, because where they gonna put him, it is hell." You know, he said, "I hate that this has happened, but
Got to let
his
it go.
family don't understand the hell that young man's about to go through." And it's the same thing here. Who is the enemy that young people, or that the young woman, walking around over, what she done worked how many hours?
12-hour shift.
12-hour shift. And who is the person to say, well, we got to get her, but that's not the quality, and that's what they brought up. That is not the same as these police, going around and shooting young people and that type of stuff. This was different. Now, I think the young lady has learned something, but at the same time, we got to begin to understand who is the enemy.
Well, see, we're going to have to discuss this a long time because this is a national story. So, Mary, why don't we take this call and see if that's our guest calling? Caller, you're the first caller of the evening, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. You are on the air. Junior, can we hear everything out here today? Okay, caller, you are on the air.
Hello.
Okay, hello. This is Ian calling from Baltimore.
Oh,
Fantastic.
yeah.
All righty. Well, this is Ian Schlockman on the line.
Yes.
And we asked him to call us today so he can update us on what's going on. So, Ian, why don't you introduce yourself formally and let all of our listeners know who you are.
Sure, absolutely. And I have
need to
a
be
special
turned
Mary,
Yes.
say turn it up a little
Sitting
bit,
right-
Junior. Go ahead, Ian.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I have a special guest sitting next to me today. This is Reverend Annie Chambers.
All right.
Oh, that's my
Alrighty,
vice
well,
president
the,
of the National Welfare Rights Union.
Alrighty, that's Annie Chambers, Vice President of the National Welfare Rights Union, both of them calling out of Baltimore.
Oh, yes.
So, welcome to Ask Welfare Rights. So
Hello,
glad you could join us.
everybody.
Hello.
Hello, Annie.
So everyone, I'm Ian Slack. I'm a presidential candidate with the Green Party, and I am honored to be speaking to you today. My campaign is anti-imperialist, anti-colonialist, and anti-capitalist, and proud socialist. And, basically we are fighting the American empire, because wherever the American empire goes, it brings colonialism.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's what we see around the world, or whether that's what we see right here in the streets in Baltimore, where I'm calling you from, or up there by you all in Michigan, that is the legacy of America. We do not live in a human rights-based economy. We live in an economy built for capitalists, and if they can't make any profit off you, they throw you onto the streets.
You said a mouthful.
So that
All
is
right.
the core message of my campaign. And we are also doing some fantastic organizing work around the country. And we're honored to be working with you all on welfare rights on this as well.
All right. Ian, say a little something about this economic condition. And I know you've been around the country, and we had you here a couple of weeks ago in the Dearborn area for our presidential candidates forum. But say a little something about what is it that you're seeing as you visit different places across the nation in terms of the economy of average Americans. Tell us what you see.
Well, I get asked this question a lot because so many folks ask me, if I'm calling for a socialist America, if I'm calling for a human rights-based economy, won't that mean that those that are rich get less? And the answer right there is yes.
All right.
And then there's a lot of folks that are tricked into thinking that they are doing extremely well in this country, and I ask them some basic questions. Can you make sure that you can afford your housing? Is your rent keep going up? Is a bank looking to take your home? Are you able to afford a car? Are you able to afford public transportation? Because most people I know, especially younger folks, have a lot of trouble affording the basics that my parents had no issue bothering with. A car payment is a big deal nowadays.
That's
Most
right.
people I know are sharing cars, not sharing house cars, or on Zipcar or something like that. And, even when it comes to owning a home, that's not really an option for most millennials and younger folks. And now on top of that, I think we're seeing that home ownership is just completely out of question. And when you rent, landlords just want to raise the rent up, to sky-high prices. And if you can't afford it, they don't really care. They'll find somebody else that can. Or they'll make the home vacant. And we just sit in an economy where we have more vacant homes than we do in Baltimore than we, than we do homeless people. So our economy says that we could,
Everywhere.
basic human nature says that we could afford to house everybody. But our economy and capitalists say, no, that's just not profitable. Putting everyone in a house isn't profitable. It's as simple as that. So that's what we're seeing across the country, because what you all are seeing right there, not just in Detroit or Dearborn, but also in Flint with your water crisis, we see the exact same thing in Newark. When I go up there, they also have water crisis. They don't have clean drinking water. In fact, they don't have clean drinking water for children here in Baltimore City schools, let alone heat or air conditioning. They close the schools all the time here. So that's what we're seeing around the country. It's just not really being reported. But if you start to talk to folks, that this is what's going on. So having a human rights-based economy, one where we actually say everyone is entitled to housing, everyone's entitled to health care, everyone's entitled to everything you need to live, food, shelter, internet, that's the baseline. That is that's the agenda we're looking to push with this campaign. That's what we believe we should be moving.
Thank you, Ian.
Say something also about this question that comes up. Well, how are we going to pay for these things? That always comes up. How are we going to pay for this?
Yeah, it does all the time. And this is a funny question to me because, whenever we got to go to war, we've always got tons of money in the bank. First of all, the U.S. spends $600 billion a year on the military. $600 billion. Let that sink in for a minute. And that does not include every time we need to bomb someone or go to war and Congress passes extra authorizations. It doesn't include that money. So our annual military budget is in the trillions.
Okay, so you're talking about 600 billion with a B.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay.
And we often wind up going over $1 trillion a year.
That's not all, and I know Annie is familiar with this, is there's a move by HUD in D.C. to get rid of low-income housing. They and people don't even know that this is one of the plans under HUD to get to abolish HUD altogether. In other words, where are poor people going to go to live?
Well, that's going to be the issue.
Tell them right now, people in Baltimore.
Speak up a little bit, Annie.
Annie, I know you can talk
Speak
louder
up.
than that.
Well, poor people right here in Baltimore, they closed down Perkins, gave it to a private developer, and now people are living in motels. They don't have a home, and they haven't been able to place them, nor give them Section 8 certificates or rent vouchers or anything else. And more all over the country. In Philadelphia, this is happening also. In New York, this is happening. More and more in this country, we're losing housing under, the last two presidents. Because as much as people talk about the man that we got now, the crazy man, this came under Obama's administration.
Okay. All right. Well, now, Ian, give us your overview so that folks will get a clear understanding of what your campaign is about. And then I want you to say your name and spell your name so that people can start to go to the internet and look you up. So go ahead and give us your overview about what is the foundation of your presidential campaign.
Sure, yeah. I think foundationally we're calling for a new economy. We are proudly a revolutionary socialist campaign. And I think while you see other candidates, like, for example, Bernie Sanders, who we would call a reform socialist, our campaign is a revolutionary socialist. We're not saying we want to, one by one, legislation by legislation, make things a little bit better. We're saying that we need these things now. We need all of them. So we need universal health care. That's a good place to start, like the Democrats are finally talking about. But here over in the Green Party and the Socialist Party that I work with, we've been talking about that forever. And now we want to talk about, well, if we don't need private insurance with universal health care, maybe we don't need landlords. Maybe we should own our own apartment buildings and have more public housing. Maybe we don't need big agricultural businesses like Monsanto or Bayer controlling our food supply. Maybe we should be in control of our own food supply and have more farmers markets and direct food to table situation. Maybe we should also be in control of our own education system and not give money to corporate charters. So, when you start to go down that path of we need private insurance, we should be asking that in every single sector. Why do banks control all of our housing? Why can't we have our own housing through public housing, expand public housing? Every administration, from Democrat to Republican, has been trying to shrink and destroy public housing because they know that they don't really want the government involved in public housing, because that means we own it. How much control do you have if a corporation comes into your area and starts to pollute or takes up and buys up all the land? None. You can go up to that corporation's house and knock on the door, and the butler's going to kick you out, or they're going to shoot you trying to get into the property. But if a city council person starts to, if our city council owns the property, we can tell them, hey, you can't just leave this vacant. You got to turn it into public housing. That's what they've done here in Baltimore that my mentor,
that's
my
around the
Reverend
country.
Chambers, did years ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, now,
So
Ian,
that is the basis
go ahead,
of our
finish your
economic
statement. No, go ahead, and finish your thought, and then don't forget, I want you to say and spell your name because we're gonna have you back on the air again, a couple times. So, finish your statement in terms of your campaign, the foundations, and we're in lockstep with you. So, go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah, I appreciate that because the other thing I want to mention is every single time we spend money on something abroad, and you see, I think Trump is actually a little bit sneakier than the Obama administration or the Bush administration because how many people know that he's already sent troops into Saudi Arabia?
Yeah,
He just did it under the slot.
that's very true.
I mean, we are literally paying to secure oil fields in Saudi Arabia, and yet here in the U.S., our economic infrastructure is a complete disaster. We don't have clean drinking water. We don't have a proper transportation system here in Baltimore. These things are falling apart right here at home. And
that's
every
just a
single time they drop
reflection
a
of
bomb or
everywhere
start
else.
a war overseas, they do not invest locally. And that's what we got to get people to really understand. That's what we mean when we're talking about American empire.
All right.
So with that, I'll say my name is Ian Schlackman, and the website is
Say that again.
SCHLAKMAN.com.
Give that website again.
Yes, ma'am. It's SCHLAKMAN.com.
All righty. Well, this is the first time we've gotten a chance to at least launch your name and get a little bit of an interview going. And Miss Annie, what's your last statement about Baltimore welfare rights?
Baltimore Welfare Rights is growing, and we're doing some real positive things right now. So you'll be hearing from us, but we got to fight all over this country,
That's
and
right.
definitely here in Baltimore because we haven't got a mayor yet. So we still fighting.
All righty.
right.
Well, now to both of you and to everybody else, the women's movement is organizing another massive demonstration in Washington, D.C., which is just up the road from you guys in January. And between now and then,
All
we're going
right.
to get us the right shirts, the right color hats, some long underwear, the right color gym shoes, the right size gym shoes, and we're going to work it out
And
together.
we'll meet you in
And
Baltimore.
we will meet you in Baltimore. We will go to Washington, D.C. all together. And Ian, we taking you with us, okay?
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
Ian is also on the board.
Hey,
Hey.
looks
of the
like
national- on the board of Baltimore Welfare Rights.
all
I
right,
like
good
that.
enough. Thank you so very much. We'll be back in contact with you because we're going to want to have some frequent updates on this campaign. Thank you so very
And
much for
congratulations.
calling
Ian.
in, okay?
Anytime. Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you much. Bye now.
I know.
Bye-bye.
Caller, you've been so patient. Thank you for waiting and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
Thank goodness I got y'all on the internet because I can't get you on my Fire Stick, but I was able to hear the two callers.
Okay.
All right.
I just found out one of the seniors told me this morning that his sister, they put a lien on her property because of a blight ticket. So they not only taking your houses due to water,
Now,
poisonous water, but now they're going after you because of a blight ticket. So it's a constant land grab as I see going on.
If
and
you
then when talk
can,
about-
if you can, share with your neighbor the welfare rights number and tell
Okay,
that person
please.
to contact welfare rights Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week so
Okay.
that we could get into that battle and help that person out, okay?
okay.
Yes, because I've never heard of such nonsense. Also,
Before
the
you,
bond money, they're constantly stealing our tax dollars in the form of bonds, talking about cleaning up some blight, when it was the bankster gangsters that turned the neighborhoods into a war zone.
You got
with
that
those
right.
predatory lending. So there again, where we have issues with the bank the gangsters. Now, there was a guy that I talked to named Rusty from California, and he was saying that a couple of churches bought up the land and the property and made it affordable for the families and the communities to continue to have housing. If we can only wake up the churches, the mega churches, or the members to hold their churches accountable, because if you're giving $1 billion across America to bankster gangsters who won't even give you a loan, and is the problem, and they're the reason why they're wiping out affordable housing, then we need the pillar of the community to come back. And they appear to be an antenna of the Republican Party, and they're going along and getting along and not making the community strong. What's the other issue I want to bring up? Okay, and I agree with is it Ian?
Ian, yeah, the candidate
Yes, I
Ian.
agree with him with the revolutionary economy, which we've been needed to adopt and control the education system, the media, the property, the land, and everything else that needs to be done. But I guess the big elephant in the room is to get the people to wake up and come together and shut down the very thing that's destroying us.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Thank you for your vision. And Marion's going to comment a little bit about what you said, but as usual, you are spot on, okay?
All right, I'll be listening to you. I'll call you back if I get some more information.
All right. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, Marion, say something about this. Here, she raised some excellent points.
Excellent points.
And everything that is involved with the capacity to survive: food, housing, health care, safety, and you already talked about. See, people don't believe us when you tell folks HUD is getting out of the affordable housing business. And then they'll ask, where'd you get that from? Well, the people from HUD said it.
So.
The people from HUD said it.
Contract said that too,
You know?
in the beginning years ago on the model cities and what have you. You know, when they start setting up these low-income houses
20 years ago.
it was to be able to support the landlords, in essence.
And they got paid by the government
and
directly.
they got paid by the government. It was like 20% of the income
Just a
at
moment,
that
caller.
time was going towards your household out of your pockets. But the rest of the stuff was funds that were federal funds.
Subsidies.
There was a time period set on that of how long this program was going to go on.
20
Furthermore,
years,
setting
25, 30 years.
The other thing about low-income housing and
caller.
stuff like that, and the food program, it was to be able to for them to have healthy soldiers in the future.
That's what food stamps were.
I mean,
you know.
what do you thought it was? Because this government loved you?
Yeah.
No.
Caller, you on the air. You've been very patient. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
Good evening, and thank you.
And good evening, sir.
I have to tell you, you have made mainstream TV. I am viewing you on 15.1, regular free TV, like it has been waiting for this for a long time. We run Detroit, and thank you.
What channel is that again?
It's 15.1, like you got 7.1 and 2 and 4.1 and 62.1. You guys are on 15.1. I'm on the west side of Detroit, right here, as far as you can go. Who knows what the signal was? This has not happened in over 15 years plus.
Well, I'm so glad you found us, and thank you for
this is
sharing
amazing.
that. You know,
Keep calling and bring us information.
And keep up real quick. There's no needed. All the other stuff is bonus. You know, the internet and the phone, but this is for anybody with a regular TV. You just pull it up, 15.1, with a nice antenna. And I got rabbit ears, nothing big. No, ladies, great, and call them out.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Thank you so very much.
Have a great weekend. I
All
love
right.
you.
And
Thanks.
so, and
All
you
right.
too.
Thank you.
All
Okay.
right. Now this,
You never know.
you know, we want to.
Thank you.
What happened? Oh, okay. He can't hear you. Marion is relaxing in this chair. She loves this chair.
I love
All
this
right, so you
chair.
got to sit close. All right.
We would like to get more information about this 15.1.
15.1.
Point one, and what section of town where we can also have some communications with the people over there, because this young man has enlightened us tonight that it exists. Have you ever heard of that, Junior? So we on
Okay.
town 15 now.
15.1. All right. All
They
right. Well,
moved the
oh, big time FCC.
uh-huh.
Okay. 15.1. Well, all
They do
right.
what they want to.
All the time. You don't follow the rules, you get
That's
moved down the road.
interesting. Very interesting.
I tell you. All right, caller, you're on the air. Thank you for being patient, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. You're on the air.
We don't know if they
Yes,
heard that.
ma'am. I'd just like to say this is not nothing new. I've been telling everybody that you can watch it on regular TV on TV 33. You just switched it over to 15. All you need is a
Yeah, we
regular
Just found out.
we just heard that we got moved from 33 down to 15.1. We just heard about it just now.
right.
Yeah, well, if you don't follow the rules, you
not
get
the station that did that.
You get
It was,
pushed down the road.
So like you said last week, they were saying
huh?
if you don't have a computer,
The
you don't have,
MCC did
F,
that.
F, Federal
Yeah.
Communications.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, now go ahead, caller. What were you saying?
I was just saying last week you were saying if you didn't have a computer, you don't know how you could watch programs on cable.
No. Last week we were out of the country.
Well, not last week, but the last time you arrived.
Okay. Okay. Oh, sounds like you're.
If you had an antenna on the regular TV, all you need is that. You
Okay.
have a cable or a,
So, caller, are you saying you've been able to access this program before today on 15.1?
yes, ma'am.
Oh,
I've
okay.
never-
Oh, okay. We didn't know that.
Didn't know that. Okay.
You have opened our eyes.
In 15 years, I've never went to cable. I've always regular TV. with
Okay.
an antenna.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for sharing
And
that
keep
information
calling
we
in.
didn't know.
Yes.
It's not no new gimmick. It's the same old TV 33, the best station in the city.
Okay. All right. Thank you, caller. All right. So, Marion, I've got, Ian is just such a breath of fresh air. You know, we need a different kind of a system overhaul. And just to think about, everything about, I got a couple of parents at my school that are struggling, used to be two parents working, and one of them gets either laid off, hours reduced, or, something along those lines, and then you have to go into being a one-parent household with you and your partner and one child, two children, three children, whatever the case may be, and how quickly your life changes when your income changes. And all I could think about is going out on the line with those workers on strike who have said we're not
not
going
giving in.
back to work unless these temp workers get a pathway to full-time or work
Employment.
with benefits.
Yeah.
And every temp worker should be on that line.
Supporting not only yourself but the vast majority of the workers that are out there.
You see?
They are fighting for a better
us.
future, a better future
Better
for all of us. It amazed me that I don't care how mad you are with the leadership of the UAW. I don't care how mad you are with the farmer and all this. Get your butts out on that picket line.
And what you should do is show up when you know you've got 30 minutes, you've got an hour. Bring a lawn chair. couple of lawn chairs and take
Bring
them out
some
to the
coffee.
line.
Bring some coffee to the people.
Okay, but wait a minute. See, ain't nobody bringing lawn chairs. And tell the workers, put the chair up there and say, whoever need to sit down for 10 or 15
Yes.
minutes, go on to do that. And give me your sign.
They
And let me carry your sign for the next 15 or 20 minutes for you. Let me do that. And that's what we should be doing.
And you know what, Maureen? After the strike is over with and what have you, you're gonna have a lot of people within the organization saying, "See what we got," and they ain't been on the picket line at all.
Oh, that's what happens to us all the time.
All the
We
time.
go and do battle and fight for low-income people, and we beg them to come and help, come and help, come and help.
Become a leader.
They won't. We get the victory, then they participate in it. You
And
know?
not only that,
It
then
happens all the
when they
time.
have to have another problem solved, I look at them
Here they come to us.
hard, you know.
Yeah, well.
Because you know, they get what that's selfish, being selfish.
They
It's
taught
me.
that, though. Yeah, it's all
It's
about
me,
me.
all about me.
All
No, it's
about
all
me.
about all of us.
It's all about all of us.
If you could
know?
understand the numbers of workers that are out here and the fact that we have a huge army when folks come together, that nut in D.C. won't be sitting up there.
Well, see, we're going to have to be real clear about that as well. I've been given this example everywhere I can. December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor attacked. And overnight, no more cars, no more private automobiles were produced. Everything was about the war economy. Overnight, everything changed. So they start building jeeps and airplanes and bullets
Tanks.
and tanks and bombs and whatever else it
They
is.
put the
Rifles.
women on the line.
I'm talking about in them factories what was
That's
going
what I'm
on,
talking about.
and how overnight in just an 8-hour block of time they were able to transform the entire nation into a war economy. There's no national will, Marion, to fix this infrastructure. They could bring on them CCC camp kind of concepts, and anybody that's interested in a job will pay you $15 an hour plus benefits and give you free housing and give you lights and gas. You get all of that if you work on this campaign about fixing these roads. You won't have any expenses. And you can deal with this. And in what, 1, 2, 3 years, we can fix every road, Marion,
out there.
every bridge,
This
all
nonsense,
of this.
this nonsense that
Where we
those
gonna get the money?
Republicans are running about where we get the money. We get the money from you.
Same place they get the
It's
money.
where you get the money for, because you living on our backs and stuff like that.
Now, I won't forget that guy by the name of Alan Greenspan. And I like him,
I
too.
remember him. too.
Alan Greenspan was the head of the Fed, and he was the guy in charge of money and money distribution. And I remember this was a few years ago, Marion, a conversation on TV. Well, the economy is in shambles, and we may not have enough money to pay our debts and pay our bills and all this kind of stuff. And what should we do? And he was sitting there very calm, you know, and he said, we don't have no problem paying no bills. If we get behind, we don't have enough money, we go print some more money. I fell in love with the man at that moment, but what a wonderful man. All they got to
ain't
do,
so
Marion,
wonderful.
is
He printed for,
plug up
for
that-
Wall Street,
well,
but not for us.
plug up that money-making machine and print the money. So, you know, all these people talking about where we going to get the money for Medicare for all, where we going to get the money for
We want
students,
everything that they have.
you know, because we pay for everything.
Uh-huh.
And it ought to be shared. And if they argue about it, then that means they need to not get nothing. We just get their share as well.
Let me
You know?
announce this, that tonight
Hold on, caller.
in Highland Park, people are celebrating the birthday of Mama Wheeler, Naomi Wheeler. Naomi Wheeler and Pops Wheeler have been some of the folks out here in the neighborhood that have been out there on picket lines, been out there fighting for your children, fighting for any that, you know, that we should have some justice over here. and that type of stuff. And Mom is enjoying herself. The people have really turned out, and I really appreciate that. So we will all like to say, what, Maureen?
Happy birthday to ya. All right.
Happy birthday to ya.
Happy birthday. All right. Happy birthday,
birthday,
Miss
Mama
Willa.
Willa.
All right, caller, you're on the air. We're down to our last 15 minutes. You're on the air. Go.
I also wanted to say not only are they stealing our tax dollars and squandering it, but they also must be squandering all the lottery money because
yes.
you know mostly poor people are the ones in them long lines playing lottery. So they also squandering all the money towards big businesses, greed, and need.
Well, you remember when Richard Hairston was on the air, and he would sing that song, "These Last $2."
Yes.
Poor people always pray and say, "Lord, I know with these last $2, you're gonna let me hit that special number." But the thing about the lottery caller is, for every dollar that the lottery takes in and it goes to the schools, that means the schools don't put money into it. So for every $100 that I put in on a lottery, the state school board keeps $100 back. So we never get ahead.
For the benefit of their corporations.
It never gets ahead. Well, I don't know if we
just
call it
sounds like
corporations. They pay each other.
That's what I'm
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds
they
like
pay
a
each
lot
other.
of
Yeah,
scams. It's another scam. But I'm looking at the Community Action Alliance, the RAP, and the GLWA program.
Great Lakes
Now,
Water Authority.
They're saying that the household income eligibility for RAP is 150% of poverty. But for a household, for one person, the household income has to be $18,210
or less.
Now, some of us that's working poor, one person still not making that $18,000 a year.
No,
it has to be 18,000, and that rest of it per year or less, and that's for a household of one.
Yes, and 24,690 for two. Okay, so you saying if they meet that guideline and under, then they supposedly will give them some help.
You are eligible if you meet that guideline and under. Yes, you are. And if anybody tells you down at RAP that you're not, you're supposed to call Welfair Rights.
And you know what? I think the problem with these little shady programs is when you do go in there, the best thing that come out of their mouth, the worst thing that come out of their mouth is that the funds are gone.
Ain't no funds gone at RAP.
They
argued at RAP that not enough people are coming down there to get it.
Well, they better get on it. It's 386-9727.
Say it again.
313-386-9727.
Say it again.
313-386-9727.
And say it one more time, because somebody had to go off and get their pen and paper. So say it one more time.
313-386-9727.
Very good. RAP has money. They're complaining that people are not coming to get it. We want people to go to RAP. If your water's off, you get it turned on, then you go to RAP and negotiate with them to pay your balance. And if you got something dripping in the kitchen, something dripping in the bathroom, something dripping in the basement, you get back to RAP, and they will make repairs in your house free of charge up to, is it $1,500? Either $1,200 or $1,500. Let's go get that money before somebody assumes.
Up to $1,000 per household.
Okay, well, we need to go get that before they decide, well, people in Detroit don't want it, so why don't we use it for something else?
And
Call RAP.
They will do that quickly, too.
Thank you.
And thank you, dear. Thank you, dear.
Okay.
Go ahead. What were you going to say? Because I got some houses for
real
rent.
quick, Maureen.
Yeah. 10 minutes.
I want to congratulate you on the fine job of having us to sit in on that hearing the other day. We will talk about that next week sometime or next month. But I want to say to our listening, our listening audience, don't be afraid of Mr.
MISTA is the Michigan State Housing
Housing.
Development Authority.
They don't know what they're talking about, and they are another entity that are not carrying out the correct program to provide people with low income affordable houses out here.
That's right.
And I won't be the one to say it that I remember when they were out here having people come into meetings and talking about what the duties of Mishka was going to be. We always had a bunch of fighting with Mishka because they were not low income at first, and that's what the money was supposed to be given for. And every time I look around, I have nothing to say that is good about Mishka. If we could get some people in there that know how to carry out the program and not use poor people for them to be able to get the money and then snatch the poor people out of the program. They lie on them, they cheat on them, and everything. We have to come on out of these houses and begin
You gotta
to
learn.
take back what they have taken from us.
Yeah, we're going to have to get more and more people trained. The MISTA hearing that we went to, I was able to get a number of welfare rights folks to sit in, and we turned it into a training.
Yes,
And this is about MISTA, Michigan State Housing Development Authority, who granted
up.
a family a Section 8 certificate, and then trying to engineer a way to take it back because they're saying that the family violated the program. And they did not. This is a really involved case, so we don't want to go into all kind of detail until we get it settled, and hopefully we can get it settled in the name of our lady that we're trying to defend and her family. But Marion, we
And
have
they
to go back.
lied on the lady, and we proved it there.
We have to go back in another 10 days,
Yeah.
remember? And I want to do a shout out to Attorney Anthony Adams. We had that attorney, and the other one is Erin Mitty.
Yes.
And she wasn't able to say a lot, but she was right there and on target. But Anthony Adams, oh Lord, he jumped into this case, and he's been in contact with the compliance officer.
Yes.
And had all kinds of questions, and this information is incorrect. That information is incorrect. He was on top of this. And matter of fact, that's one of the things Marion and I were talking about before we got on the air today. Maybe we can find some transportation funding to go back to getting seniors
That's right.
and students to go back to 36th District Court, Frank Murphy Hall of Justice, and go back to court watching.
That's
and
right.
Get some students down there and some retirees down there to go into these doggone courtrooms and start watching these judges and watching these projects.
That's right.
And whatnot, and these lawyers and these programs that seem to not benefit us like the way they used to. So we're
Especially
actively looking at
landlord
this.
clinic.
Landlord tenants. Ooh.
Tenants, I mean, it's amazing what the
Getting
city
away
of
with.
Detroit, as well as Michigan and all the rest of them, are getting away with. They are trying to turn these houses into houses for
Developer greed.
for grief. You're correct. And
For the
close
developers.
the program down for the benefit to have more funds to be able to deal with a certain section of the population, and that do not include our section.
Go ahead, Carla. You're on the air.
Well, that's what happened to me. I was staying in Mildred Smith townhouses, and what they first did to us is they sent us a letter, and it was from Mr. claiming that they were going into foreclosure. And I'm saying, how are they going into foreclosure when there are the entities that's supposed to keep the buildings in check and in a low-income status? Next thing I know, Bedrock bought the building and told all of us to rent. Well, not all of us. I think they selected some of us, and they came after me. And they said, your rent in 30 days is $250 increase. And so I had to get to moving.
Yeah.
But I wanted to bring up the education issue with our children.
Go ahead.
Do you know that they're assessing the children to get into kindergarten, they're assessing them to see if they can read, if they can write, if they can color within the lines, and these are assessment tests. So I'm trying to encourage parents that Head Start does not teach your children ABC colors, how to draw, how to read, how to write. So I got a 4-year-old grandchild. We got him writing his name and coloring, and he knows all that he needs to know. But you have to understand, once they start assessing you, then they're going to be putting you in different groups. And whichever group they put you in, they might start treating you either on a better scale or a lower scale. So it's important that as parents, that you be the Head Start for your children to be as advanced as much as possible.
Okay, now, caller, let me just ask a question about that. Mary and I was sitting here talking about it. As long as I've known Head Start programs, and they've got Vista Maria down at WC3, and some of the really good ones and I know a lot of them. The kids that go to Head Start starting at age 3.5 and 4, they are taught colors. They're taught how to read, and no, not read. They're taught how to write their name, their phone number, their address. Now, are you saying that there are Head Starts that don't do that anymore?
No, because when I was taking I had mine in school since he was 2. And because his father and I worked with him, they were amazed because he was so ahead. And I'm walking in there talking about, but you're supposed to be the Head Start. And why aren't you encouraging these children to have that, intellect? Because if you don't tap into them children's intellect early and make it encouraging and fun, that's going to make them, lackadaisical on through their school days. They're not going to be interested.
All right, you've just opened up maybe another can of worms. Maybe that's another investigation we're going to have to launch and look and see and check around to make certain that Head Start programs are, in fact, teaching kids colors, teaching kids numbers, teaching kids how to write their name, first name and last name.
At least read a 3-letter word. At least read up to 3-letter words.
All right, caller, you've opened the door. Let's check it out.
All right. Thank you.
And thank you so very much. All right, Marion, this is probably the last call we're going to take this evening. Caller, you're on the air. You've got about 45 seconds. Go.
Yes, go. The Head Start, I've worked with children to retire. They teach them how to write their name and color. Now, one thing I want to tell you, I checked in about them cruise lines that I've been talking about, be down there by the Renaissance Center. I talked to Brenda Jones gave me whatever that office, Port Authority. Anyway, and they said that, they come from the Great Lakes. They bring people here like from Ohio and other places and all. And next year they plan on to have a few more cruise lines coming. So that's what I called in to say. That I've been
thank you. On. And thank you so very much for that. Appreciate that information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. On the 15th of October, which is on a Tuesday, the state of Detroit, an annual conference happens again at Sacred Heart Church over there with Norm Thomas on Rivard. It starts at 6 and it's from 6 until 9. And again, that's on Tuesday, October the 15th. So those of you that generally go, put that on your calendar. Those of you that don't generally go and are not aware of it, go to your website if you have one and look up the state of Detroit. And if you don't have that information, call down to Welfair Rights and we'll give you a contact number to call and get that information. But Marion, it's Tuesday, the 15th of October from 6 to 9 over at Sacred Heart over on Rivard in the community center. So Marion, you have 41 seconds to say goodbye.
Again, we're happy to have been here, and we hope that we have touched on you that you need to be a part of this movement. Thank you. Hope to see you next week.
All righty. In January, don't forget, there's a massive organizing drive to get from 5 to 7 million people to Washington, D.C. It's only a one-day event. We ride the bus all night. We get off the bus. We always go have breakfast at Welfare Rights because we don't go nowhere unless we eat. And we meet up with some of our members in Baltimore and D.C. and every place else. and we have breakfast, and then we go straight to the march, and that generally takes us 4 hours, at least an hour, hour and a half for us to get to the site. Then we don't go any further, because by the time we get there, there are already 6 or 7 million people in front of us. So we park somewhere, and then people pass by, and then we get back on the bus. The whole thing takes about 7 or 8 hours. Then we get back on the bus and we ride home. And yeah, we have a ball. And the prediction this year will be between 5 and 7 million people. Contact your church, contact your union, contact somebody else's church, contact somebody else's union.
Tell your church to get a bus.
And if you don't
fundraise.
have a bus, figure out what you should do. But we should all be getting ourselves prepared for this January event, because we have something
Bring your
important
husband,
to
bring
do in November.
Bring your whole family.
Whole families are able to go. All right. Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We will be back next week. We've been doing a lot of traveling, but I think we're going to stay home for a couple weeks now because we're tired. I will not be at Welfare Rights tomorrow. I got back-to-back events that I have to manage. And I'm going to church Sunday. I ain't seen the pastor in 2 weeks. I wonder if she grew
need to go
any taller, you know. All right, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We will see you next week. Goodbye, and get involved, like Marion said.
Happy birthday, Mama Wheeler.
Bye.